Kita sambung the characteristics of enzyme. Yang pertama, remember this picture, lock and key hypothesis. Previously we learned lock and key hypothesis. It mentions that the active site of the enzyme is specific and complementary to the substrate punya structure or shape. Therefore, this enzyme can only catalyze substrate A punya reaction. This enzyme cannot catalyze substrate B punya reaction because the shape is not specific and complementary. So that's the first one. It says that the reaction of enzyme is specific. Why? Because the shape of active site is specific and complementary to the substrate. Done for number 1. Okay, kita gerak ke number 2. Remember this arrow. So the same enzyme can catalyze the forward reaction, for example condensation, and the same enzyme can catalyze the reverse reaction, which is in this case hydrolysis lah. Jadi kita kata reaction of enzyme is reversible. For example, we learn hari tu kan, macam contoh maltase. Maltase can catalyze the forward reaction, hydrolysis. It can also catalyze the backward reaction, condensation. This one adalah enzyme could be either one. Awak kena be careful lah, tengok which one is hydrolysis, which one is condensation. Done for number 2. Let's go to number 3. Remember this graph, activation energy. So enzyme catalyst, what does it mean by catalyst? Catalyst means it speeds up the chemical reaction. So the enzyme speeds up by lowering the activation energy. So jom kita tengok balik sikit. Remember, the blue graph refers to how much reactants need to absorb energy before the reaction can happen. So in this case, banyak lah. So in the presence of enzyme, the activation energy is actually lower. So the reactants need to absorb only this much energy. Then the reaction occurs. Okay, itu number 3. Let's go to number 4. Cofactor and coenzyme. They are friends of enzyme. Not all, but some. Some enzymes, they actually require cofactor to function efficiently. Example here. Look at the structure of substrate. It is not 100% specific and complementary. Jadi, bila ada cofactor or coenzyme and they actually bind to the enzyme, look at what happened to the active site. Now it is specific and complementary. Jadi, without the cofactor, the reaction might be very slow or it might not work at all. In the presence of cofactor or coenzyme, the active site jadi specific and complementary, so it can work efficiently. So itu number 4, done. Let's go to number 5. Nampak? Ini enzyme in the beginning of the reaction. This is the enzyme at the end of the reaction. It doesn't change. It is not destroyed. So itu je lah number 5. Therefore, since it is not destroyed, enzyme can be reused, boleh diguna semula. After it has done catalyzing the first reaction, it will go to the next reaction. After dia dah done dengan the first substrate, dia akan pergi ke substrate yang kedua, lepas tu ketiga and so on. Okay, since it can be reused, we only need in small quantity, tak perlu pun banyak-banyak. So our body such as pancreas, the organ that produce enzymes such as lipase, amylase, semua tu, dia tak perlu work hard to produce a lot of enzyme. Okay, and the last one. So this is inhibitor. This is the opposite of cofactor. Inhibitor can actually stops the enzyme from working. Example here. So this is inhibitor, they bind to the active site of the enzyme. Therefore, it blocks the substrate from binding to the active site. So the enzyme will not work. Second, this inhibitor, dia bind to the other parts of the enzyme than the active site. So bila dia bind dekat other parts, it can actually change the structure of the active site. So bila the structure of active site change, it's no longer specific and complementary to the substrate. Jadi substrate cannot bind juga, so enzyme stops working. So that's inhibitor. So dia akan stop or slow down the reaction. Example, lead, mercury. These are the heavy metals. And we have a cyanide. This is famous in the question. Respiratory inhibitor means, remember respiration, dia punya process to generate energy kan. Jadi without respiration, energy cannot be produced. So process that requires energy such as active transport cannot occur. Jadi kadang-kadang dia cuma simply mention cyanide is added to the cell, or kita kata cyanide has poisoned a cell. So explain what happened to the active transport, for example. So awak akan relate dengan respiration, relate dengan energy, relate dengan the enzyme is inhibited. Kena sebut juga. Done. So that's the 8 characteristics of enzyme.